Professor Chang, I turn the floor over to you. Thank you.
Welcome to the Yidan Prize Summit. This session, we invited Professor Zhu. Professor Zhu Yongxin is also the prize winner this time. He will start to talk about his new education initiative, NEI. Then a few friends will also discuss today's theme, teachers' identity, motivation, and skills, and elaborate on this regard. Let's invite Professor Zhu to talk first, and I will simply ask some questions. Maybe it's better for Professor Zhu to introduce to our audience what is NEI, or what kind of activities, and this theme, how do you position teachers? Professor Zhu. Thank you, Professor Chen. NEI started in mainland China in 2000. It's a non-governmental educational reform launched and promoted in civil sectors. This new education event is mainly based on the growth of teachers as the logical starting point. To build this extended school library, teachers and students write essays together and listen to the voices outside the window, cultivating excellence, eloquence, etc. as 10 actions. Help teachers and students live a happy life. As Dr. Chen mentioned earlier, one of its biggest characteristics is its special emphasis on teachers. Why do we think so? Because I always think that teachers are the foundation of teaching. It is also the source of new education. China's education problems are complex. Where is the key to solve the problem of the education? I think it's the teacher, who is standing in front of the podium, who determines the quality of education and who decides the fate of educating children. So the quality of education depends largely on the professional level of teachers. So if the teachers' problems are solved, the problem of education will be solved. So this is a very important reason why we take teachers as the logical starting point. For this particular problem, we designed that through teachers' profession, promote the mutual growth and professional recognition and that identity, help teachers grow better, empower them. We have completed the professional reading map of teachers. We have also made the first systematic reading list of teachers in mainland China, providing teachers and students with excellent educational resources beyond textbooks, and help them expand their study and living space. In the method of education, we conduct a mode of educational reflection through teachers' life narration and provide a platform and model for their growth. So this has largely solved the problems of teachers' lack of internal drive and professional quality. It also builds a bridge between theory and the practice of frontline teachers in the form of organization and through the establishment of a network normal college and teachers growth college. We train excellent teachers at a large scale. The number of students in our network, normal college, is about 4,000. Since its founding 1 year ago, it has cultivated more than 2,000 teachers. So it is called the new educational paradigm of teacher growth by the media. For example, our Teacher Growth College has trained more than 112,000 people offline since 2013. In 2020, we trained 725,000 people online. We know that majority of Chinese teachers are trained in the traditional way. We called it Old 3, which is the teaching method, pedagogy, and the psychology. Many teachers lack opportunities for effective continuing education. We help teachers develop their career development plans through professional communication and the professional reading and writing. It also solved their problem of motivations. So we provided a methodology, learning resources, and a growth platform. It should be said that good results have been achieved. Over the past 20 years, we now have more than 8,300 schools and more than 50,000 teachers have become the direct beneficiaries of our new education. A large number of excellent teachers have emerged, and from 2004 to 2021, and China Education News will select the top 10 people of the year, top 10 teachers. They are always teachers from New Education Initiative. And today, we also have 2 teachers here. They will talk to you later. The principal, Zhang Huifen, her school was a rural school, but over 50 principals and vice principals have been cultivated in 20 years, contributing 1/3 of the principals to the whole region. This is not easy. So some people say that China's new education education initiative is the West Point Military Academy in China, which train good Chinese teachers. So Professor Chang, that's my brief introduction. Good. Thank you, Professor Zhu. Now let's invite Dr. Hao Xiaodong. He has made special contributions to Teachers Network. Just now, Professor Zhu talked about teachers' knowledge and professionalism, etc. But in the new era, how to do this in the digital age? Dr. Hao, please. Thank you, Professor Chang. Indeed, today's AI and the rapid development of big data triggered profound changes in the way teachers live, learn, and think. It also triggered the renewal of educational concepts and the profound changes in learning and the teaching method. Teachers can contact the outside world through the internet and to check relevant information, interact with teachers from all over the world, realize a kind of a universal learning that everyone can learn anytime, everywhere. In our new education initiative network, Normal College, we have the theory of 3 professionals: professional reading, professional writing, professional communication. We have built a learning community for those teachers. And the main thing is to stimulate and enhance this internal motivation of teachers' learning. And it was mentioned by Professor Zhu. We also use the online live streaming and the teaching video playback and the discussion and the remote communication in this network Normal College to promote teachers' professional development. These technologies and functions solve the 3 challenges of traditional training. And the first one is the diversified demand from our teachers. Secondly, to provide personalized guidance. And thirdly, and to guide continuously educational development. We also invite high-level lecturers to set up a guidance team consisting mainly of lecturers and volunteers to provide such personalized and timely guidance. We also design course in a 3-year cycle. In this way, we can solve the problem that teachers' learning will end after training in traditional one. Through those efforts, we have realized the 3 changes of teachers. Firstly, the teacher has changed from simple learner to a course builder and a knowledge sharer. It's not the traditional one-to-many model in the past. but everyone is also the expert and also the information carrier for sharing. Secondly, it realized that teachers can change from passive learning to active learning. Thirdly, it transformed the teachers from individual learning in the past to community learning. So these are the three problems that the new college solves. Of course, we're still working hard. Thank you, Professor Chang. Good. Next, let's invite Principal Zhang Huifen. She's also an outstanding principal in the NEI. I know that this new education is important for many schools. And first of all is its extended school library. Can you share with us on this regard? Sometimes the teachers may feel tired. And what kind of good typical examples from your experience? Well, thank you. Thank you, Professor Zhu and Professor Chen. And Xinhe Experimental Primary School, where I was originally live, is the cradle of new education. Why we say this? Because there was no time to put forward the new concept of education. We were deeply attracted by Professor Zhu's new education initiative. This school is located in a suburb junction, and it's a relatively unknown school, or a school whose parents' trust is not high enough. After one semester, when we asked the parents and the colleagues to listen to the growth stories of these teachers, they were surprised to find the lifestyle of these classes and the teachers has changed a lot. So we started to build this extended school library a lot. The professional reading of teachers has become a very important aspect of this library. I, as a director of the teaching department, put a lot of boxes in the reading room. Then every teacher has a box. And from the beginning, the teachers were read, and then they want to read. Because they found that after reading, their classroom has changed and established the relationship between them and the students. So he has the motivation to read. At this time, I think the new education is very good because it built a map, and also there is a map that includes cases, experiences, and the structure, and the principle and the philosophy, etc. And the school consciously established a reading and a writing club, and many teachers love the process of reading. This is a very good starting point for leveraging the high-quality development of a school. So this school is also developed from an ordinary school in the urban-rural fringe to the advanced school in the NEI system. I brought this kind of model to my present school, Xinhe Experimental Primary School. So our school also started from this extended school library, and the reputation of the school has also been very good and improved in our local area. So I think this is a new power of the new education. And some teachers think so whether there have some plateau period. What I want to tell you is that our teachers has three forces supporting him in the process of new education initiative. One is the sense of mission. He will not feel that his efforts to grow up for his own sake. He will feel that his growth and efforts will change the society, the family, and the future of our education. So he has a strong sense of mission to inspire him. The second is innovation. Even an excellent teacher becomes a super teacher in the cradle of a new education. We are very happy to see that. But I think if we don't carry out practical innovation, make breakthroughs, and solve problems ourselves, then you will always be unable to break through yourself. So I think in the practice of new education, everyone will have great creativity. And the third point, I think they will have a very good company. The important thing about the new education initiative is that you are not fighting alone, but a group of people in the process of practice together. Therefore, when I first started at the new education online, famous teachers from all over the country gave you advice. I was super excited because I only look at how they grew up and the stage before. But you can win more support from them on this platform. Once more, I can always ask Professor Zhu for advice. Let me stand on the shoulders of giants. You can climb high and look far. One thing that Professor Zhu often said to me is, you should remember, you are not an ordinary teacher. You have become a target of people's educator. Your responsibilities and requirements should be higher to yourself. Therefore, I stand on the shoulders of giants and keep looking far. Secondly, I think I can stand on the shoulders of others because of such a new education team. It is also important that you add your innovative practice to your reading and writing, and the kind of thinking that you form as a normal everyday. So it broke through the plateau period. And reading and writing together with practice and reflection allow you to stand on your shoulders and constantly improve yourself. Thank you. Next, let's invite Professor Li Zijian from Hong Kong. He has been engaged in teacher education for a long time. Professor Li, please. Thank you, Professor Chen. Hello, everyone. And hello, Professor Chu. It's a great honor to participate in this discussion. Actually, my problem may be wider, not limited in Hong Kong. Firstly, if from the theoretical perspective, Harvard, an expert said a long time ago that a teacher's development may have three dimensions. The first dimension is about the development of skills, and the second is self-development. It's not only about personal skills, but also his bad beliefs, his attitude, etc. And thirdly, reactions to ecological or situational changes. There are three dimensions. Based on the understanding of many experts, new education initiative, just now Professor Chu and the two experts introduced. My understanding is that the main foothold is self-development, a large and successful experiment. And with respect to the two key issues just mentioned, I have no answer for the moment. Let me start with the professional or career identity. Two aspects may be involved. First of all, we should understand the change of our context. I have benefited a lot from the change of context, and Professor Chen is an authority here. My understanding is that at least in our current discussion in 2022, there are several dimensions here. Firstly, changes in geopoliticals for the whole world. And secondly, the development of our country. We talk about in the 20th National Congress that our country has to become a powerful country with many talents and other directions. Hong Kong SAR, where I live, our chief executive also talked in his policy address that the moral cultivation mentioned the different development of education. And we also mentioned the presidency as well as the moral cultivation. And of course, we talk about the technology and the development of AI, etc. So back to the transformation of context. Maybe we need to explore that teachers in the new education initiative or beyond the new education initiative, whether growth or professional identity or their own development. What is the connotation of those problems? First of all, Principal Zhang has mentioned that there are three forces to support. There are many related concepts. Maybe some people say professionalism. We are teachers and educators. How to understand this major? How to understand this profession? Secondly, we also need to talk about the problem of establishing morality and cultivating people. We have done so much growth, and finally, our target is our students. And the growth of our students, happiness of our students. Because we train our students as future citizens. Thirdly, we should pay attention to teachers, especially in these special times. Everyone should learn for life. Every one of us, especially in the face of so many technology changes, we should learn all our life. Principal Zhang also mentioned the problem of creativity or innovation. If our teacher is not innovative, I'm afraid we are far behind. And this is the response to the second question. Of course, the problem of a plateau period. And how to solve this plateau period. How to reach another peak. Maybe it's better in mainland. There are two tracks. First of all, teachers can study the development of your teaching and they become an excellent teacher. And secondly, you can be engaged in the administrative work and you can be the directors or vice president and then the principal or president. This is the administrative track. Of course, the two are not contradictory. You see, our Principal Zhang is an excellent example in both aspects. But we also need to think about how we solve the problems of the plateau period at the different stages in our development. And thirdly, Professor Zhang also mentioned the problem of a coexistence. So it's from the concept of community. The concept of this community is how we can go through different platforms, especially my mode of sharing online events and how to combine with different forces and build experience platform, etc. And those help me understand this new education initiative as a special and a positive educational innovation, which is worth learning. And I also think the network normal training mode is worth a further discussion, especially after the COVID-19. And many people appreciated this kind of education. Last but not least, I personally appreciate the mode of reading, writing, and communication in NEI. But in Hong Kong, Professor Chen also understands teachers in Hong Kong are busy, and how to make teachers with relatively high workload in some places have more time to read, reflect, and communicate. I think it's worth exploring and discussion in the future. I stop here first. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Professor Lee. Thank you so much for your profound and enlightening remarks. Before we finish, let's first ask each speaker to talk in one sentence what you want to say or summarize or some questions. Professor Zhu, you go first. Thank you. Thank you, Professor Chen. One sentence is very challenging. If one sentence, I think it is enjoying the happiness of being a teacher. Why this sentence is important? Because no matter it is a plateau period or a job burnout or work pressure, it's all about whether he can enjoy the happiness of teaching. Why do many people tell me that your teachers are different from other teachers? There's a light in their eyes. They'll have smiles on their faces. Your teachers are more burdened than other teachers because I ask them to write, read, and participate in various communities. How can they be happy? I think that is to say that the professional identity of our new education helps them to find an example of a professional life or a life prototype. In the new education team, we have many excellent teachers who have grown up in the new education. At the same time, we should let the teachers read the biographies of the growth of teachers and the growth of excellent educators. It is to help them find their life example in their life. Li Zhenxin is also a doctor of mine. He wrote so many works, but she did a very good job as principal and head teacher. That is to say, there will be time for important things, you think. So it's also very important that how to face the difficulties in life. In NEI, we keep telling teachers that encounters are often opportunities. Every teacher will encounter difficulties in the process of growing up. I told them, in fact, difficulties are often the greatest opportunities for people to grow. When you face difficulties, some teachers retreat, but the new education teachers, we told them, difficulties are tests. They are also opportunities because most people can't face up those difficulties. So the challenging these difficulties and are also the opportunities for you to grow, you will have a greater chance than others. The other thing is about the three professional model, which is professional reading, writing, and communication. Professional reading is important because we think if a teacher's professional ability wants to be improved, if they only rely on their own continuous trial and error to explore, it will grow very slow. But if he has quality reading from the beginning, he will be able to find a suitable way of education. Therefore, reading is the most powerful or secret weapon to help teachers grow. In addition, writing is also important to many people. I opened a company named Zhu Yongxin Successful Insurance. I asked the teacher to write 1,000 words every day. I want to encourage them. I myself insist on writing. For 20 years, I write more than 1,000 words every day. You said you were busy. I told the teacher that you can't be busier than me. I can do it, and you can do it. Actually, writing is not for writing. Writing is a good way for people's reflection. So reflection is the most important tool to help them improve their education level. And writing enhance his popularity. And writings give him a sense of achievement. And because there's a lot of publications. In addition, communication is also important. Many of our teachers are often live in the same school, but the new education teachers are not like this. Our network college teachers come from all over the country. You see, he will continue to learn from others, and he can take other people's good things soon. So the community is also very important. So I think enjoying the happiness of teachers' profession is the secret weapon of teachers' growth. Is also the key point of his growth. Thank you, Dr. Hao. We hope that our future teachers can join the professional learning community through the network, change from experienced teachers to professional teachers, and make our education and the teaching more creative. And the new education made me do only one thing in my life, that is to learn to be a teacher all my life. Let me remember my mission all my life, that is to use the ideal of education to do the ideal education. Thank you, Professor Lee. I learned a lot today, so I hope the future education is based on the growth of life, the cultivation of morality, and the inheritance of education as the core, and the continuous learning, reflection, and the development of teachers and the schools and educational circle as the orientation. Thank you. The sharings of the four speakers must give you a lot of inspiration. I want to make a long closing remark here, but I think it's very important to have this new education. This is because the society is different now. It's a new society. The development of science and technology has also accelerated the change of the society. And today's geopoliticals also promotes the social changes. So I have great expectations for our new education. Thank you very much, Professor Chen, Professor Hao, and Principal Zhang, and Dr. Hao. It's difficult to fully develop the problem of teachers in such a short discussion, but there's no doubt whether in the past, now, or in the future, teacher is the core and the key factor that restricts the development of education. Many functions of traditional teachers may be replaced by high-tech products, but the wisdom of teachers cannot be replaced. Teachers' emotions cannot be replaced. High-quality teachers are closer to students. More personalized teachers will be a shortage in the future society and one of the most important resources of education. So we look forward to our new education team can work with colleagues in Hong Kong and educators around the world to explore the growth of teachers together and make our contributions to improving the quality of education. Thank you again. Thank you very much for all our panelists. This time We would like to Professor Kai-Ming Chen and Eric Ma, and together with Professor Yongxin Zhong, Xiaodong Hao, and Kuifeng Zhang, who will be dialing live with us. We can see Professor Chu. Hello, Professor Chu. And Principal Zhang and Dr. Hao. Good afternoon. Hello, everyone. And Professor Chen will be online to host this session. Our time is limited. We will start immediately. And we received a lot of questions. And the first question goes to Professor Chen. It is about Hong Kong and the different regions of the world are facing up the shortage of teachers. In your opinion, how to improve the quality of this teaching and the circumstances? Thank you. I would like also to thank all the audience, and I would like to answer your previous questions. I was very early in the 1970s. Many of you are not yet born. I was at school back then. I think a junior high school student back then, his educational degree was only about the third grade of a primary school nowadays. At that time, the teacher asked every student to write and speak English every day and to write an English diary every day. At the beginning, it was possible to start. Every teacher should return the student's diary to him in the morning. And he didn't correct the diary, and he just drew a line and the mistakes in the diary, but the effect was still tremendous. So I totally agree with you that writing is a very important way of learning. It's a kind of a reflection and also a reward for yourself. Later, our teacher and they were asked to write diaries every day. And I was asked to write a diary too, and I wrote a diary and wrote some letters to another colleagues, and the colleague wrote to me, and I won't elaborate the details, so just want to emphasize the significance of writings. Writing is a very important starting point. Thank you, Professor Chang. So let me repeat the question. Some people say both writing and reading require great effort and practice. So how to encourage those teachers to start a new education initiative? Professor Zhu? Sure. We should let the teachers know the significance of writing and the reading itself. And of course, it's not enough to be only reasonable. We are also looking for examples and building examples. And in our school, our simplest way is to set an example and the bottom line together. For example, many of our principals were required to require some teachers to write an article per week or an article every 10 days. So this is the bottom line. And after he wrote it, it's really different. As long as they read and write, and they made rapid progress. And after they made rapid progress, we will let them build their own stories and followed different examples. And those kind of examples are very persuasive. So this is a kind of ecology. And this is the way we encourage people to read and write. Of course, Principal Zhang can also introduce what he did in school as a principal. Okay, I will follow what Professor Zhu said. At the age of 26, when I met Professor Zhu, he asked me, "What's your dream?" I said, "I want to be a teacher that children like." He said, "You don't want to be a super teacher?" I asked him what the super teacher looked like. Professor Zhu said a sentence back then. I don't know whether he still remembered or not. He said, "If you published more than 16 articles, you are close to the super teacher." I didn't understand that back then, but when I really start writing and started to write professionally, I find it brings more than reading and writing itself. It brings about changes in the classroom. I was principal at that time, and I have a wall, and there are different boxes for each teacher. Actually, and we ask the teachers to write articles and develop their articles and publish their articles online. And someone will follow up, and someone is commenting. And then the writers increasingly feels this is a kind of a growing power, and this become a kind of a habit. Thank you, Professor. Thank you, Principal Zhang. Any supplements? Sure. I will add 2 points. First of all, we think reading is to solve problems. It's just for the reading itself, or just for the sake of reading. So, in the process of class evaluation, I will give the Sohom-Linsky's suggestions to the classroom, and also the relevant chapters are involved. And how does Sohom-Linsky understand the problem? At this time, books and practical life are combined. So this is the first point. Secondly, read and join in the community. Then we can communicate with each other in the community to solve the problem of what and how to read. So in the network teacher learning center, the primary and the secondary school teachers from all over the country can express and also communicate together. Okay, thank you very much. Next question. The question is about how to make teacher and the children feel interesting, because when you are writing, not all children or teachers feel interesting immediately. Then how to encourage them, let them feel it is just like doing a kind of games? What kind of methods, Professor Zhu? Okay. In a new education initiative, we do create many good methods. We don't encourage children to regard writing as a very compulsory task. We encourage children to write their hearts. And we created a course called a talk writing or spoken writing. And their parents or teacher just record what he said. The content should reflect their life. So we should give him a rich life. And if you lock him up here, and he cannot think anything out. So you should enrich their lives, and the student will will write those content. And nowadays, we have a lot of platforms and educational platforms which can publish those articles from children and students. Then there are other children's comments, and also this is a kind of encouragement, and there are encouragement from other parents and the teachers and their comments, and then the student will have better enthusiasm and passion. Of course, teachers' writing is different from students' writing. From teachers' writing, we are still have more requirements. Actually, every day, and in this kind of communication time, and the teachers are actually writing every day, but they just write on WeChat. And we need to organize those informations and be able to make better use of time. And this will help you grow better. Thank you. But I have a question here. And you have a requirement for those students. But sometimes teacher is unwilling to do it. And the parents don't read neither. So this is a problem, must be solved. And secondly, in Hong Kong, many teachers in the primary school will put all students' compositions in English and Chinese online and put them online. And sometimes the students writing are only for the public and not for teachers. And secondly, they need the courage and all the peers' comments. So sometimes I think technology can bring a lot of changes, but also some challenges. Thank you, Professor Chen. I agree. And after the new technology, people are interested in this writing, whether teachers or students. And some people are always changing. And Mr. Sun is a teacher in our school, and this is one of the examples. And he came to our school 5 years ago. And all the children in his class published their articles for 4 years. And he also transferred such experience back to different schools. And as a result, and each student has its own channel or its own microblog, WeChat, and a platform. And all the community will give thumbs up or give likes and comments on their writings. So children will grow up in such a process and get good results. For teachers, I think this is also a very promising process. After he tasted such a sweetness of writing and reading, he really will be willing to do this. And for example, we have doing project-based learning recently, and we do this series. And in the new education initiative, it always encourages poems, and it also encouraged innovation and creation of children. And the children can gain the innovation and the special feelings in this process. Moreover, there's a floating reading house, and the books read by teachers and their students can be shared with each other. And we also created a reading and writing societies. Like some people who love reading do the good reading guidance or guides, and everyone will be involved, and everyone is growing. Dr. Hao, any supplements? And children's writing, I think composition is different from writing, and we always mix the two. And composition is for the credits, and it's for the teacher's correction. And the writing is a kind of a lifestyle. So we think writing should be restored to our children's life, become a way of learning. Let it be natural. It includes writing a diary. For example, when they visit the museum, they can write some notes, and those are a very good way of writing training. But sometimes many teachers only emphasize the composition, but this is only an exam-oriented composition. It makes the children unable to write. And moreover, we also think we should provide the children with the suitable books. And I lead the children to read Sophie's World. And I took a holiday to read 20 articles and 3 or 6 hours a day, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon. So why do these children or pupils like reading? And many teachers said, maybe you have some special method. Actually, there's no special method. The key is to discover the meaning of the book itself. If we break away from the book itself, the meaning of the book itself, and pay too much attention to the external form of reading, and in this will deviates from the interest of reading. And our time is very limited, so my last question goes to Professor Chu. It is certainly not easy to do private education in China. What kind of thoughts you have, and any special feelings you can share with us? Okay. It should be said that private education is a very important part of the whole Chinese education system. I think it is also indispensable. And the 20th International Congress of the Communist Party of China also specifically proposed to guide and standardize the development of private education. And private education has indeed experienced a bumping development process. For a while, the direction was biased, and there were many private education as a means of profit. And they are only they are induced by profits. But in recent years, through a series of the correction and the rectification, the whole direction is corrected. And we also think in the country we should pay great attention to and emphasize the public as well as the private education. And this kind of diversity is important. And this will propose new ideas and also propose some new ways of methods of education. And this is important to enrich our education ecology. So I think after such a development, I believe that private education will enter its springtime, its prime time. And of course, we will have the direction of public welfare. It's not about the profits. I still have a full confidence in the future. Thank you, Professor Chu. We are looking forward to our future communication with our colleagues worldwide. It's almost the time. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much, our panelists. Thank you, Mr. Ma and Professor Chen, to the audience, and for your all questions.